What's up? We're out here at the OG spot. This is actually my mom's house. This is where I grew up. So we're actually in her garage today. So not in the Chaos garage if you can't tell. But we've actually got a lip for my 350Z. It's a replica. It's the eBay, so we'll see how it goes. But it's the ChargeSpeed BottomLine, but it's made by Duraflex. This one is. So that's what we're going to be working with. I've started kind of daily driving the car, so I don't want to beat up on a $300 part. So if this thing, I mean, I think it was 80 bucks. So if it works out, cool. So you're going to be along to see if it does. But so let's start with some prep. Picked up all the products we'll need. So we're going to hit it with some 400 grit sandpaper, and then what we'll do is throw some adhesion promoter, some primer on there, and then hit it with the black. I'm not gonna do, this is like a semi-gloss, so I don't want the full-on gloss look. So I'm not using clear coat or anything. So we'll see how this goes. And then once we finally come time to install it, we got the 3M tape. All right, so I just finished up sanding it, and I don't know if you could tell or not from the video, but the corners of like the little crease, I'll show you in a second, that's the hardest part to do. And what I found was I essentially just kind of like took my finger and like ran along any seams to try to get the best sanding result possible. But if you own a 350Z, you'll know about these creases in the bumper. So this area right here, it's just where it's curved so much, it was hard to get to. Otherwise, we're gonna move on to the next step. We're gonna hose it down, wash it off with some alcohol and all, and then start prepping for paint. Good morning, everyone. So what I've done was, yesterday you actually saw me like do all the paint prep. Well, in North Carolina it is so humid right now. So what I've actually done is I've left this box fan on blowing overnight just to try to cool this place down, because I didn't want to paint in such high humidity, because I tried to clean it the first time and I poured the alcohol on there and it just would not dry. I mean, like, alcohol should dry in 30 seconds. So I'm gonna give it a go. I've left the box fan on overnight. It's bright and early in the morning, half awake right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean it up real good again with the alcohol, and then it's cool enough in here now, and I feel like it's less sticky. So hopefully the paint will adhere better this morning. So we're gonna give it a shot. So we'll clean it up and then start painting. So I hit it with the alcohol. I rubbed it down pretty good. It's still struggling to dry. Like, I don't know if you can tell if it's splotchy or not, but it is attempting to dry. I'm gonna turn the box fan on it because it's still pretty, it's humid, but I don't know. It's not drying as quick as I was hoping, but we're pretty much ready to paint. So I'm gonna turn the box fan on, but it's so loud, but I'm gonna let that try to dry it out, and then we'll hit it with this first coat. So I just sprayed the first coat of primer. Honestly, I'm not really sure exactly what it's supposed to look like. I guess I was picturing in my head like the grayish, you know, just like regular primer, but this kind of like comes out clear. So I can't exactly tell if I've done a good job or not. That was coat one. Let it dry for a few minutes, then hit it for the second round. I'm sure every painter or professional is probably cringing right now, and I'm sorry, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I hit it with some light coats. Not really, I probably just went super heavy, but again, I don't know, it's really humid, and I just want to make sure that the paint sticks. So we're gonna hit it with that next. It says after you do the last coat, which I'm gonna consider that the last one, I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with the paint. You gotta do it within 10 minutes. So we'll go ahead and do that. Do, I don't know, 2 or 3 coats of the black, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, so I just finished up. I don't know if you would say it's a job well done. It's a job done at least, but I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but like I feel like I got too close in some areas. I'm hoping it'll dry evenly, but at different light angles, you can, I think it picks it up on camera, like you can kind of tell where I did a good job and didn't do a good job. I actually feel like on the backside, I did pretty good. I'm more proud of that than anything else, but it sucks because that's the part you don't see. But I really think it was because I was forced to hold the can farther back because of the edge of the chairs I got it set up on. I can only get the spray can like so close. So we'll actually see how it turns out. I'm gonna let it dry. I don't know if you can tell, but it is hot and it's humid. So I'm gonna let it dry. It's bright and early. It might be 6 o'clock, 6:30 already, I don't know. I got out here at 5 this morning. So I'm gonna let it dry up. Honestly, probably all day, all night, and then as long as I can tomorrow. But I would like to get it on the car, but obviously it's gotta be dry before I can do that. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. But I'm just gonna let it sit, let the paint do its thing, keep the fan on it, just that way it dries out a little bit. So I'll update you all once it dries. Bumper update number 7, 8, I don't know. So this project's taking a lot longer than I expected. And I don't know if it's like necessarily like the eBay part problem, but the way the lip goes on, it doesn't, like there's no way that just double-sided tape will hold it on. So I think what we've decided now, so we got the car in the air, and like now that we can actually get the lip, like we test fit it too off camera, but it's a really tight fit, because at first I didn't think it was gonna work at all, but we were able to stretch it out, make it work, so it does fit, and it fits snug. Mounting it is my issue. So we'll kind of bring you in and show you what the situation is, but I think we're gonna have to use some kind of bracketry to get it to hold on. So when you put the lip up here, there's a significant gap underneath. So the only part, honestly, that actually touches the bumper is this front piece. So I'm trying to debate. I picked up some of these little brackets, and there's a gap underneath between the bottom of the bumper and the bottom of this lip. So between the bottom of this lip and the bottom of the bumper, there's a gap. But I'm trying to debate if I can use this bracketry to kind of fill the gap and kind of hold it together. So it'll be held on by tape here, but that way it's got some extra support, so it's not just relying on the tape. And if the tape fails, then at least I'm aiming for maybe 4 of these across, so that way it's at least held on the bottom. So I think that's what we're gonna do now, is try to mark up the lip in order to drill for these brackets. So I've marked, I'm gonna do 5 pilot holes, or 5 holes, to then try to put our bracketry. So we're gonna drill the 5 holes now, and cross your fingers, I've got dotted the centers, and just hope that I don't drill too far through this stuff. I'm not sure. I gotta put enough pressure to go through, but not enough to slide through and chew up the other side. Okay, so we've cleaned it really well with alcohol. We've got our holes drilled. So I think the next step is to actually put the 3M tape on the back side of the lip, and then go ahead and try to stick it on the car. That was definitely noticed some casualty. My bumper took a beating. So if your show car quality, first of all, you probably wouldn't buy from eBay. But second of all, you better be ready for some paint scratching and hurt feelings. We've got the lip on, thank God. But we'll explain the other side in a minute. But what I'm doing for extra support is taking these brackets of some sort, but they won't fit straight across. So I'm having to bend them to kind of like a weird lightning bolt shape to get them to fit underneath. So let me see if I can show you that. So what you're seeing is this is the front of the bumper and this is the lip. So I've drilled 5 holes, but we're gonna take our bracketry, and I can't line it up and look at the camera, but so it's gonna go on like that. You get the idea. But we're gonna bolt it here, and where my thumb is, it's for extra support. So there's 5 of those. All right, and what you're looking at now is the driver's side. So this is the one that was being a pain. So as you can tell, I've foobarred my bumper. But I'll try to show you underneath. What I ended up doing is there are these 2 OEM bolts that kind of hold your front bumper to the fender liner. So I took these out, drilled in the front lip, and put the bolts back in. And I've also put like a security screw, just like a sheet metal screw in there as well, to kind of provide extra support. So that'll have 3 bolts essentially on this side holding this lip in, because what it wanted to keep doing was popping off. It's like everything else was tight on this thing except for this corner. And again, you can tell it's chewed this piece of my bumper up and this section of my bumper up and this section of my bumper up, and this is kind of maybe the worst of it. Alright, so our goal is we're going to take this and make it this with some geometry. It's gonna go like that, and actually if you can just hold that, and I'll spin a nut on it, then I give you a visual of what we're trying to accomplish. And then, so a nut on there like that, and then I'm gonna just drill a hole. You can probably let go and it'll hold itself. So it's gonna be held on here, and then I'm just gonna drill a hole, and then I got like a screw that I'm gonna put through the top, and I'll do this 5 times. But that way it'll have 5 of these brackets essentially holding from the bottom of the bumper to the front lip to make it extra secure. And I can't remember if I already showed on this is the side, because there's the tire. So this is the driver's side, and I've used these 2 stock OEM, like holding the fender liner together, and then I just put another screw. So I'm gonna use something similar like this, so to put in the top bracket. So, and then I gotta do the same on the passenger side, but we're gonna knock that out, and then that should finish it off. Realized probably having these hang down, I mean I haven't taken these out yet, but just having these dangle, because I mean if I do scrape, that is the piece that is going to catch the ground, and it'll probably ground off pretty easily, which I mean I don't care, but I feel like it'll just snag and might dig in, and that might cause it to be more likely to rip off. So of course it's going to be more difficult to then do it from the other side. So we put the bolts in through the bottom and then put the nut in on the top. It looks cleaner and we were less likely to scrape, but it does suck because it just makes it harder to get to the nut. But I think this is the plan we're going to go with. So I'm going to flip everything around, get all these brackets, and then we'll drill the holes and get them fully mounted. But I think this is the setup we're going with versus having these big things stick down. Plus then you won't see these nubbins. All right, well, after a super struggle, we've actually got it installed. So obviously once you lower it, because like from the angle, you can see the silver sticking out. But once it's lower, you won't be able to see. I mean, obviously if you look up under it, but I'll give you a quick shot so you can kind of tell up underneath if it'll focus. This is what the final product looked like. All right, here's the finished product. We actually put it on the ground. So it didn't actually change as far as ground clearance from the ground to underneath the car, which is good, honestly, because I daily drive the car. So I'm debating lowering it. Haven't yet, but it doesn't really change because it's about equidistant as it was before. But it just adds a little touch of style, make it a little more aggressive looking. I don't fully recommend the eBay bumper, but honestly, with a little ingenuity, you can make it work. And it's definitely, it still comes out cheaper than the real, because I think this is actually a ChargeSpeed replica, so it still turns out cheaper than that. But hey, I think it looks good. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe. See you next time.